I remember when this game came to PC, and I picked it up immediately. It was a Final Fantasy game, and my wallet really can't say no. I was actually really happy to use this game to test out my Steam Deck, and I was not disappointed. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is a Japanese role-playing game developed and published by Square Enix. I paid like 30 something dollars for this game, and my playthrough lasted about 42 hours, which is above how long to beat's 33 hours on average. I'm Vivix Tales. This is Backlog worthy. Let's talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. The game is set in the city of Midgar, a place that is powered by Mako and controlled by the Shinra Electric Power Company. Believed to be draining the world of its life force, the terrorist group Avalanche seeks to stop them. The thing with Remake is that only so much of this world can be shown to you. You get to experience the slums in Lower Midgar and the Shinra building in the upper part of Midgar. Past that, you don't really get to experience much past Red 13, who is a character you also just can't play as because he's introduced too late. The story of Final Fantasy VII Remake takes you through the first tens of hours of the original Final Fantasy VII, up until you leave Midgar with the gang. I played this game on the go quite a bit, finally being able to see how much the Steam Deck would be able to handle. I did play this game on my PC as well, so I can talk about some of that. On PC, the game looked amazing, something I would expect from a game that spent 5 years in development hell. Everything looked so vibrant and flashy, especially when I was in combat. When it comes to the Steam Deck, I have no complaints on that system either. The graphics were great, seeing as I was playing it on a system that I could use in the car. The game also ran smoothly on it, with having no stuttering that I can remember. This may be an unpopular opinion, but I do really like the music in Remake. Maybe it's because I only got so far into the original Final Fantasy VII as a kid, compared to beating Remake as an adult, or maybe it's because I've only played somewhat more modern Final Fantasy games. But who really knows? I can't say I really have a favorite song in this game outside of the Prelude, which is in every Final Fantasy game. So here's another one that I'd say was pretty good. The song you just heard was Stand Up, which is probably one of my most memorable songs from Final Fantasy VII Remake, and probably one of my favorite moments in the game. There are also so many other good songs in this game, but I don't really have the time to fight off DMCA strikes against my channel to really show you, so just try to enjoy them in the background of this video. When it comes to controls, I don't really have too much to say. It plays like any other action JRPG that I've played. I know that doesn't really explain too much, so let me try to. The controls felt very responsive from when I was in combat or just roaming around the map doing side quests. The only time I really hated, and I mean straight up despised, the controls were during the chase minigame on the motorcycle. Nothing really felt responsive during that minigame the 2 times I've played it, because I messed up the first run. The characters are what hold this game together. Well, that and the story and everything else. Cloud Strife is your calm and collected poster boy for the entirety of the Final Fantasy franchise. He doesn't really seem to care at all, or at least he does his best to hide it, and I do kind of like him for that. I feel like it hides him more from the player, just as we only know so much about his past. Tifa Lockhart is another main character that you get to see at the beginning of the game. She's one of Cloud's love interests and is a local bar owner. She was a pretty decent character to me, but that was really about it. Barrett Wallace, on the other hand, was a great character to me. He added a good chunk of humor to the game that I ended up really enjoying. Besides being witty, Barrett is also the leader of Avalanche and a pretty good tank for your party. Aerith Gainsborough is a wanted healer and the other main love interest for Cloud. I really did like her as a character, especially the way that she alluded that she knew more than what she showed. The only thing that I wished to see from her was her iconic scene in modern graphics. The game came out in 1997, so I don't really feel bad for spoiling a 26-year-old game. I did like the idea of materia, but that might be due to the fact that my dad keeps telling me how it's his favorite Final Fantasy mechanic. I do have to agree with him though. It is a cool system. Adding these little orbs to your weapon or armor can change how it responds. It can help you take or deal damage, or even add new spells to your roster. Limit breaks are more my style though. Even from what I've played in the original Final Fantasy VII on Steam, I just like the idea of them. The fact that you're able to use your strongest move your character can muster to change the tides of battle is always going to be a cool concept to me. The combat was smooth compared to some of the other action JRPGs I've played in the past, like Tales of Berseria and God Eater 3. Something that really stood out to me while in combat was the slowdown that occurred while I was choosing a spell or an ability. It made me feel like Cloud or any other character that I was using was actively thinking of what to do in the moment. I also enjoyed the switching of characters in battle on the fly. It really made my favorite desperate tactic much easier, which is Phoenix Down spamming. This is also something I've talked a lot about, whether it's been online or you've been unfortunate enough to listen to me rant about this in person, but I absolutely hate the idea of side quests. I am happy to say though, I like this game enough to the point where I did all of the available side quests. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is a great game, and I do think people should play it, even if it's just as an entry to the Final Fantasy series. This game gets a 9 out of 10 for me. If you can get the game on any sort of sale, it is 100% worth the buy. Just please don't buy a game for $70 if you don't have to.